Somewhere in Florida, right now, a man is collecting rainwater, running his entire house on solar panels, growing food 12 months a year, and paying less in monthly expenses than most people spend on streaming subscriptions. He is not a survivalist. He is not filming a reality show. He is just a guy who got tired of electric bills, HOA letters, and paying a corporation for the privilege of existing. Here is what most people get wrong about Florida. They think it is condos, theme parks, and retirement villages, where the wildest thing that happens is someone cutting in line at the early bird buffet. But drive 30 minutes inland from any coast, and Florida transforms into something completely different. Vast stretches of rural land where your nearest neighbor is a quarter-mile away. Counties where building codes are so relaxed that the permit office does not even have a website. Places where the water comes from a well, the power comes from the sun, and nobody asks why you have chickens in your yard because everyone has chickens in their yard. Florida is quietly one of the best states in America for off-grid living. Year-round, growing season, more sunshine than almost anywhere in the country. Abundant freshwater from springs and aquifers. And land prices in rural counties that make western states look like a financial crime. But not all of Florida works for this. Some counties will fine you for disconnecting from municipal water. Others have zoning laws that treat a composting toilet like a biohazard. And a few places are so swampy, so mosquito infested, and so prone to flooding that living off-grid, there is less homesteading and more survival horror. So I did the research. I dug into county ordinances, land prices, water access, solar potential, and the lived experiences of people who are actually doing this. What I found are 12 Florida towns where off-grid living is not just possible, it is practical, affordable, and in some cases, almost encouraged. Subscribe if you have ever looked at your electric bill and fantasized about unplugging from everything. Like this video because the algorithm does not run on solar panels. It runs on clicks. Let us get into it. Number 12, Okeechobee. Population, approximately 5,600 county. Okeechobee, AVG. Land price, tilde, $8,000, $15,000 acre. Okeechobee sits on the northern shore of Lake Okeechobee, the largest freshwater lake in the southeastern United States. The town is surrounded by cattle ranches, sugarcane fields, and enough open land that your off-grid homestead could exist without a single neighbor in eyesight. Okeechobee County is one of Florida's most lenient when it comes to off-grid living. Agricultural zoning dominates. If your parcel is 5 acres or more, you have significant freedom with what you build. How you power it, and where your water comes from. Wells are standard here. Septic systems are the norm. And solar installation is straightforward because this is Florida. The sun is not optional, it is aggressive. Land prices range from $8,000 to $15,000 per acre depending on access and whether the parcel floods seasonally. That is critical. Lake Okeechobee's water levels fluctuate. Some parcels that look beautiful in March become wetlands in August. Check elevation data and flood history before you buy anything. The town itself has basic services, grocery stores, a hospital, hardware stores. You are not completely isolated. You are selectively disconnected, which is the ideal version of off-grid living. One homesteader who runs a 5-acre operation outside Okeechobee wrote, I grow food year-round, run solar with battery backup, and my monthly expenses are about $300 total. My biggest cost is chicken feed. My second biggest cost is gas for the truck when I drive into town once a week. Pro tip, look for parcels with existing well permits. Drilling a new well in Okeechobee County runs $3,000 to $8,000 depending on depth. An existing permitted well saves you significant startup cost. Number 11, Crescent City population, approximately 1,600 county, Putnam AVG, land price, tilde, dollar, 5,000, ichiman nisen, Acre. Crescent City sits between two lakes in Putnam County and feels like Florida forgot to develop it. That neglect is your opportunity. Putnam County consistently ranks among Florida's most affordable counties. Land here is cheap by any standard. 5-acre parcels with road access can be found under $30,000. The county's rural zoning allows significant flexibility for off-grid setups, including wells, septic systems, and agricultural structures without excessive permitting. The area is surrounded by natural springs in the St. Johns River system, which means groundwater access is excellent. Wells typically hit good water at reasonable depths. The soil is sandy but workable. Florida gardening requires raised beds and amendments. But the 12-month growing season compensates for soil quality. Crescent City itself has minimal services, a small downtown, a few restaurants, and a Dollar General that functions as the de facto department store. Palaka is 20 minutes north for more shopping. But if you are going off-grid, you are not moving here for the retail experience. A couple who built an off-grid cabin on 10 acres near Crescent City shared, "We paid $22,000 for our land. Built a cabin for $35,000 using salvaged materials. Solar panels run everything. Our well water is clean. We grow 70% of our food. People in Orlando pay $2,500 a month in rent. We pay nothing. Zero. Our land is paid off and the sun is free." Number 1. Chiefland population. Approximately 2,300 county. Levy AVG land price, tilde, $4,000, $10,000 acre Chiefland is in Levy County, which might be the single most underrated county in Florida for off-grid living. Here is why. Levy County has no incorporated areas that enforce strict building codes across the entire county. Outside the few small towns, you are dealing with county-level regulation only, and Levy County is remarkably permissive. Owner-builder exemptions allow you to construct your own home. Agricultural zoning is widespread, and the county has a live attitude that off-gridders describe as refreshingly land prices are among the lowest in the state. For $10,000 per acre. Some larger parcels sell for even less. The area is flat, partially wooded, and has decent road access without feeling suburban. Chiefland is also 30 minutes from the Gulf Coast. Cedar Key and the Nature Coast are right there. You are not landlocked. You can homestead on affordable land and still reach the coast for fishing, crabbing, and salt air within a short drive. The springs are the hidden bonus. Manatee Springs State Park is minutes from Chiefland. Fanning Springs is nearby. The aquifer system here produces clean, abundant ground. Wells are reliable and affordable to drill. One off-grid resident put it bluntly, "Levy County does not care what you do on your land as long as you are not hurting anyone." I have solar panels, rainwater collection, a garden, goats, and chickens. Nobody has ever knocked on my door to tell me I need a permit for living my life. Pro tip: look for properties with existing agricultural exemptions. Florida's agricultural tax exemption can reduce your property taxes by 50 to 80%. Even a small livestock or crop operation can qualify. Number 9. LaBelle population. Approximately 5,200 county Hendry AVG land price. $6,000 $14,000 acre. LaBelle sits on the Caloosahatchee River in Hendry County, about an hour east of Fort Myers. This is cattle and citrus country, flat, open, and deeply rural. Hendry County is one of Florida's least populated counties relative to its size. That means land is available, regulations are minimal, and your nearest neighbor might be a cow. The agricultural heritage means the county understands rural living. Wells, septic, and agricultural structures are standard, not exceptions. LaBelle itself has a charming small-town feel, a historic downtown along the river, a few restaurants, and enough services to handle weekly supply runs. Fort Myers is an hour west when you need anything serious. That balance of rural isolation with accessible civilization is hard to find. The growing potential here is exceptional. Hendry County soil supports citrus, vegetables, and tropical fruits. If you are homesteading, this climate and soil combination gives you options that northern states cannot match. Mango, avocado, papaya, bananas. These grow here without heroic effort. The catchy summer heat. Inland Hendry County in July is brutal. No coastal breeze. Pure Florida humidity. Your solar panels will produce magnificently. You will sweat magnificently too. A homesteader outside LaBelle wrote, "I grow food that people in other states pay premium prices for. Mangoes, avocados, citrus, all from my backyard. My solar system paid for itself in 3 years. I live on 15 acres that costs less than a used car in Miami. The heat is real, but free mangoes make it tolerable." Number 8, Monticello population, approximately 2,400 county, Jefferson A, VG land price, $3,509,000 acre. Monticello is in Jefferson County, the least populated county in Florida. Let that register. The least populated in a state of 22 million people. Jefferson County has around 14,000 residents in an area larger than some northeastern states. That population density, or lack thereof, makes Jefferson County exceptional for off-grid living. You can buy 20 acres here for what a parking space costs in Miami. The land is rolling by Florida standards, with mixed pine and hardwood forests, creeks, and soil that is better than most of Florida for agriculture. Monticello itself is a historic courthouse town with southern charm that feels more Georgia than Florida. The architecture is antebellum. The pace is glacial. And the county government operates with a simplicity that off-gridders appreciate. Fewer bureaucrats means fewer obstacles. The Panhandle location gives you a slightly different climate than peninsular Florida. You get actual seasons. Winters have frost, which limits some tropical growing, but enables crops that southern Florida cannot support: blueberries, strawberries, and cool season vegetables. Water access is excellent. The aquifer is shallow. Wells are affordable, and the Acilla and Wachisa rivers provide recreational access and natural beauty. One family who homesteads 40 acres near Monticello shared, We bought our land for $3,800 an acre. Built a house with our own hands. Solar and well water run everything. We have no electric bill, no water bill, and no mortgage. People think off-grid means sacrifice. I think paying $2,000 a month in rent is sacrifice. Number 7. Old Town population. Approximately 600 county. Dixie AVG. Land price? $3,000 Hasen. Acre. Old Town is in Dixie County, and Dixie County is where Florida goes to be left alone. Population of the entire county, roughly 17,000 area over 700 square miles. That ratio gives you space that most Americans cannot comprehend. You can buy land here where the only sounds are birds, wind, and the occasional distant truck on a county road. Dixie County is famously permissive for rural living. Off-grid setups are common. The county does not have the resources or the inclination to micromanage what residents do on their property. Wells and septic are standard. Solar is increasingly common, and the cost of entry is remarkably low. Land prices start around $3,000 per acre for unimproved parcels. Wooded 5-acre lots with road access can be found under $20,000. For someone building an off-grid homestead from scratch, that startup cost is achievable on almost any budget. The Suwannee River, one of Florida's most iconic waterways, runs through the area. Fishing, kayaking, and swimming in spring-fed water are part of daily life. The Gulf Coast is accessible for saltwater fishing and crabbing. The honest trade-off is that Dixie County has very limited services. The nearest significant town is Gainesville, about an hour and a half away. Healthcare is basic. Shopping is minimal. If you are going off-grid in Dixie County, you are committing fully. An off-grid resident wrote, "Old Town is not for people who want to play Homestead on the weekends. It is for people who are serious about I grow my food, generate my power, filter my water, and live on land I own outright. My total monthly cost of living is under $200. That is not a typo. Number 6, in population. Approximately 1,400 county Putnam AVG land price. $4,000. Ichiman, Acre, Interlachen, sits in the lake-dotted interior of Putnam County, surrounded by Ocala National Forest. The town is tiny, affordable, and surprisingly well-positioned for off-grid living. The Ocala National Forest border means you have hundreds of thousands of acres of public land for hunting, foraging, and recreation right next to your property. The freshwater lakes provide fishing, and Putnam County's affordable land prices make entry accessible. What makes Interlachen interesting is its proximity to Gainesville, about 40 minutes, which gives you access to a university town with hospitals, shopping, and services while living in deep, rural Florida. That combination of accessible isolation is rare. Properties here are affordable enough that many off-gridders buy land outright, eliminating mortgage payments entirely. When your land is paid off and your power comes from the sun, your cost of living approaches something that urban dwellers find difficult to believe. A young couple who moved from Jacksonville wrote, "We were spending $1,800 a month on rent in Jacksonville for a mediocre apartment. We bought 3 acres in Interlachen for $12,000 cash, built a small off-grid cabin, installed solar, and drilled a well. Our monthly expenses dropped to under $250. We work remotely 2 days a week from a coffee shop in and spend the rest of our time building the life we actually want. Number 5. Belle population, approximately 500 county. Gilchrist, AVG land price, tilde, $5,000, $12,000 acre. Belle is the kind of place where the post office, the gas station, and the community center might be the same building. Gilchrist County has fewer than 18,000 people and more springs per square mile than almost anywhere in Florida. The springs matter for off-grid living because they indicate aquifer health. Where springs are abundant, groundwater is accessible. Wells in Gilchrist County consistently produce clean water at manageable depths. That reliable water access is the foundation of any successful off-grid operation. Gilchrist County is also one of Florida's most affordable. Land prices are low, property taxes are minimal, and the county's rural character means regulations favor agricultural and homestead use rather than suburban development. The Suwannee and Santa Fe rivers run through the county, providing recreation and natural beauty. Ginny Springs, one of Florida's most famous swimming and diving spots, is in Gilchrist County. The natural environment here is exceptional. Belle itself is a crossroads town, minimal services, but functional enough for basic needs. Gainesville is about 45 minutes for anything significant. Alachua and Newbury are closer for grocery runs. A retired couple homesteading near Belle shared, Gilchrist County feels like Florida from 50 years ago. Nobody bothers you. The water is clean. The land is affordable. We run our entire property on solar with a battery bank, grow vegetables year-round, and our biggest monthly expense is property insurance at $90. We spent our careers chasing money. Now we chase sunsets? The sunsets are better. Number 4. Trenton population, approximately 1,900 county. Gilchrist, AVG. Land price, tilde, $5,000, $12,000. Accudito, Lento is the county seat of Gilchrist County and offers slightly more infrastructure than Belle while maintaining the same off-grid advantages. As the county seat, Trenton has a courthouse, a small grocery store, a hardware store, and a few restaurants. It is not much, but for off-grid living, it is enough. You can handle most weekly needs without driving to Gainesville. The town sits at the junction of several county roads, giving reasonable access in multiple directions. The Suwannee River is nearby. The springs are accessible. And the community, while small, has an established network of rural landowners and homesteaders who share knowledge, equipment, and occasionally surplus produce. That community aspect is underrated. Off-grid living in complete isolation works for some people, but most benefit from a network. Trenton's small-town fabric provides that network without the intrusion of code enforcement or neighborhood associations. One homesteader near Trenton explained, "The hardware store in town knows every off-gridder within 20 miles. They stock solar components, well parts, and fencing supplies because that is what their customers actually need. When I needed help installing my water filtration system, 2 neighbors showed up without being asked." That is Trenton. Small enough to care. Rural enough to leave you alone. Number 3 menus, Arcadia. Population, approximately 8,000 county. DeSoto, AVG, land price, tilde, $7,000, 15,000. Acre, Arcadia offers something rare, a genuine small town with real services surrounded by affordable agricultural land ideal for homesteading. DeSoto County is cattle country. The infrastructure already exists for rural, self-sufficient living, feed stores, equipment dealers, veterinary services, and a community that understands land-based lifestyles. You are not explaining your choices to confuse suburbanites. You are joining an existing culture. The town has a hospital, grocery stores, restaurants, and a monthly antiques fair that draws visitors from across the state. For off-grid living, having a functional town within a reasonable distance dramatically improves quality of life without compromising independence. The Peace River runs through Arcadia, providing water access, kayaking, and fossil hunting. The surrounding ranch land is flat and open, with enough tree cover for shade without dense forest. Solar exposure is excellent. Growing conditions support both temperate and tropical crops depending on the season. Land outside Arcadia ranges from 7 to 15,000 per acre. Larger parcels, 20 acres or more, often price lower per acre. Agricultural zoning dominates, and DeSoto County's regulations support rural homestead operations. Hurricane Ian hit DeSoto County hard in 2022. Flooding was significant. Off-grid infrastructure, particularly solar panels and water systems, held up better than grid-dependent properties in many cases. But the damage was real. Any property purchase in DeSoto County requires careful flood zone evaluation. A rancher who transitioned to off-grid wrote, "After Ian, my grid-connected neighbors lost power for 3 weeks. My solar system never stopped working. My well pump ran on battery backup. I had water, electricity, and food from my garden, while people in town were standing in line for bottled water." Off-grid is not just a lifestyle choice. In Florida, it is a resilient strategy. Number 2, Bronson population, approximately 1,100 county. Levy AVG. Land price, $4,000, $10,000. Acre Bronson is the county seat of Levy County. And as I mentioned earlier, Levy County is arguably the best county in Florida for off-grid living. Bronson puts you at the administrative center of that freedom. The town has basic services, a courthouse, a small grocery, hardware stores, and gas stations. Cedar Key on the Gulf Coast is 30 minutes west. Gainesville is 30 minutes east. You are positioned between coast and city with access to both while living in neither. Levy County's permissive approach to owner-built structures, agricultural operations, and alternative energy systems makes Bronson a natural hub for the off-grid community. The county's building department works with owner-builders rather than against them, which is not something you can say about most Florida counties. The land around Bronson is mixed. Some parcels are wooded, others are cleared pasture. Soil quality varies, but is generally workable with amendments. The aquifer provides reliable well water, and the proximity to both the Gulf and Gainesville means you are never truly isolated. You are just choosing how much civilization you engage with on any given day. A family of 4 living off-grid near Bronson shared. We homeschool our kids, grow most of our food, and run our house entirely on solar. Our kids know how to garden, build things, and fix equipment. Our monthly expenses for a family of 4 are under $600. That includes fuel, insurance, and the stuff we cannot grow or make ourselves. People ask how we can afford to live like this. We ask how they can afford not to. Number 1, Cross Creek population, approximately 50 county. Alachua, Avegay, land price, $8,000, $20,000 acre Cross Creek is not really a town. It is a place, a feeling, a stretch of road between two lakes where Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings wrote. The yearling, and where Florida exists in its most raw, most beautiful, most unapologetically wild form. Cross Creek sits between Orange Lake and La Clusaz Lake in Alachua County. The population is roughly 50 people. The road is narrow. The trees form canopies overhead. Spanish moss hangs from everything. And the landscape looks exactly like it did when Rawlings described it in the 1930s. Why is Cross Creek number one? Because it represents the philosophical ideal of off-grid Florida living. This is not suburban escapism. This is genuine connection to the land, water, and natural rhythms of a place that has resisted development for almost a century. The area is zoned rural, residential, and agricultural. Properties are larger, 5 to 20 acres minimum. The lakes provide fish. The land supports gardens, and the location is 20 minutes from Gainesville, giving you access to a university, towns, hospitals, stores, and cultural resources without sacrificing an ounce of rural character. Alachua County is more regulated than Levy or Dixie counties, so off-grid setups require more careful navigation of building codes. But the county does accommodate alternative systems, solar, well water, and septic, when properly permitted. The additional oversight comes with a benefit: better roads, closer emergency services, and reliable infrastructure when you need it. Rawlings wrote about Cross Creek. It is necessary to leave the impersonal highway. 2. Stumble on a sand road, and the NSA comes of I shall stay. The Hash Creek is a lovely thing. That was 1942. The highway got paved. The sand road is still there, and the remoteness still holds, if you know where to look. A current resident of the Cross Creek area wrote something that stopped me cold during research. I moved to Cross Creek because I read Rawlings and thought she was romanticizing it. She was not. The land does something to you here. You slow down. You listen. You realize that most of what you thought you needed was just noise. I have solar, a well, a garden, and more peace than I have ever had in my life. My house costs less than a year of rent in Gainesville. And every morning I wake up to a place that a Pulitzer Prize-winning author chose over everywhere else in the world. I understand why. Here is what nobody tells you about off-grid living in Florida. The state's biggest advantage is not the sunshine. Although that helps, it is not the growing season. Although that is extraordinary. It is the county-by-county variation in regulation. Florida has 67 counties. Each one has different building codes, different zoning laws, and different attitudes toward alternative living. Some counties will make off-grid living nearly impossible with permit requirements and mandatory utility connections. Others will essentially leave you alone as long as you are not creating a public health hazard. The single most important step before buying land for off-grid living in Florida is this. Call the county building department, ask 3 questions. 1. Can I install a solar system as my primary power source? 2. Can I use a private well for my water supply? 3. What are the owner-builder requirements for residential construction? The answers to those 3 questions will tell you everything you need to know about whether that county works for your plans. 3 additional realities to consider. First, hurricanes. Off-grid systems need to be solar panels must be properly mounted. Battery banks need protected enclosures. Your water system needs manual backup. Florida will test your infrastructure annually between June and November. Build for it. Second, insects. This is Florida. Mosquitoes are not a nuisance, they are a lifestyle. Off-grid properties without proper screening, drainage management, and pest strategies will make you miserable from May through October. Plan for mosquitoes like you plan for hurricanes. Seriously? Third, heat. Off-grid cooling is the biggest challenge in Florida. Solar can run air conditioning, but the battery capacity required is significant and expensive. Many off-gridders use passive cooling shade trees, proper ventilation, elevated structures, and strategic orientation. Budget for cooling solutions or accept that Florida summers will test your commitment. Drop a comment telling me which town interested you most. If you are already living off-grid in Florida, share your experience. This community learns from each other, and your knowledge helps someone who is just starting. Subscribe if you want more content about affordable, independent, and intentional living. Next video dives into a topic that will change how you think about where and how you live. See you in the next one.